The man behind this dish was the first person to hold not 1, not 2, but 3 Michelin stars. And these are his famous potatoes. Okay, so this is a really cool book that I've stumbled across. And it's essentially a book from a man called Fernand Point, who is an incredibly influential chef, often referred to as one of the first ever 3 Michelin star chefs. Michelin actually only started giving out 2 or 3 stars in 1931. He got his 3rd star in 1933 at Pyramide, which is a very famous restaurant, which is basically thought of as one of the founding restaurants for Nouveau Cuisine. He trained Paul Bocuse and other notable famous chefs, and it's just a really amazing book. It is in French, but you can get a translation. And the most famous recipe from this book is a Pommes Dauphine. And Pommes Dauphine has sort of a rich history of being for royalty, a Dauphine being a senior member of the royal aristocracy in France. So this is a sort of a very fancy, but equally quite simple recipe, which just absolutely bangs. And we've got Fernand Point, the man, the myth, legend, to thank for it in his, what probably is the first ever cookbook by a 3 Michelin star chef. So really, really cool book. So Point was a massive character. He was notably a huge man who drank champagne for breakfast. He's very famous for like instilling very high standards in his kitchen. His restaurant, the Pyramide, was also co-owned and ran by his wife. This book was released posthumously, so after his death, by his wife, who basically wanted to collect and preserve all of the amazing recipes that he came up with. He died at 57. That's what happens when you have butter in every recipe and you drink champagne for breakfast. This recipe, what we've done is we've added our butter and water to a pan. We've just brought it to the boil. And now we're gonna add in some flour. And for this, you want like, you know, strong glutinous flour. And this is essentially the foundations for a choux pastry. So choux can be used for sweet dishes like eclair and different dishes like that, but for this one, this is going to be the base to our Pommes Dauphine. So what you want to do is you want to really work the dough. Once you've added all that flour, you want to cook out the flour slightly. Just takes a little bit of work, but you really want to get that gluten working and get a really nice, smooth, homogeneous base to your choux. Whilst that cooks, I've cooked off some gruyere potato on a bed of salt. So gruyere are perfect for this because they don't have a great amount of moisture inside, and they're a high starch potato with low sugar. So what they're going to do is they're going to be, as a base for a Dauphine, they're going to crisp up really nicely because they've not got a lot of loose sugar and they've got a lot of starch. So in there, I'm going to add a mixture of salt and sugar weighed out. The sugar will give it a really nice color as it browns, and it'll give it a nice sort of like nutty golden color when it comes out of the fryer. And salt's obviously just a little bit of seasoning to help season up those lovely potatoes. Okay, so I've turned this off now, which is important because you want the choux just to lightly cool down a little bit. Potatoes still warm, really important. That's really important because otherwise the batter and the dough will get way too thick, and it's quite hard to handle at that stage. So just chop your potatoes in half. The salt is optional. Like some people think that this is a excessive amount of salt just to bake a couple of spuds. But the main focus here is drawing out as much moisture from that potato as possible. So it really helps with that. Okay, so whilst these warm potatoes, we're just going to push them through a regular sieve. You can use a tammy sieve if you've got it, but these sieves work perfectly fine. So anything that you've got at your home will also do the job. So this might seem like an extravagant way to cook a potato, but all of these ingredients and techniques are easy enough to do at home. Okay, so as you can see, we've got this really nice light pasty potato mix. Quite golden already. That's the thing about a gruyere potato. They already have like quite a nice, beautiful golden color. What I do with my choux is just, we've got a nice consistency there. It's starting to just slightly cool down. I take it out of the pan and put it into a bowl, and then I'm going to crack 2 eggs in there. Just bring it together. If you did it in the pot, then there's a chance that your eggs can scramble a little bit. So I just do that outside. Be patient, it'll just start to slowly come together. And the eggs they're going to add a real nice richness to the dough. Also, they make it puff. So they give it this wonderfully light consistency. Just bringing that together with the back of the Maurice. As I work it, you'll see that the consistency will completely change. So it'll turn into this really nice light light mix. And that is a basic choux dough. So Fernand Point's ratio that he uses when he's making this is roughly a kilo of potato mix to 300 grams of pâte choux. And then probably a bit of kit that he wouldn't have had, but us modern day chefs don't have the wrist strength. So I just whack in a RoboCoupe and bring this batter together. I'm also just going to taste a tiny little bit to make sure I'm happy with the seasoning. I find that bringing it together like this is awesome because you get this really nice light consistency. So you're looking for essentially what looks like I guess a fortified mashed potato. Once the mix is ready, we place it into a piping bag and then we're going to put it into the fridge to slightly chill down, and then it'll be ready to fry. Fernand Point is quite specific about how to do the little shape. As a champagne lover, he liked his Pommes Dauphine to resemble a champagne cork. We actually practiced this recipe a couple of times before we presented it to you good folk on YouTube, and we decided that we played around with a couple of methods, and it's very similar to how you would do like an uni or a ricotta gnocchi. So we had the idea to do it like you would do that, which is effectively over a pan of boiling salted water. But instead of the boiling water, we're going to do that with the oil used to fry the Dauphine. Okay, so to get a nice even shape, just use the rope, the little line, to cut the ends off nice and sharp. And you want the oil nice and hot because you want them to form a skin straight away. I'm actually getting really excited now. They're really beautiful and light. So this is where other recipes of Pommes Dauphine I've seen, this is quite a high potato ratio. And especially the potatoes that we've used, the agrias, are really dry. And you can see just how light and airy these are. And they're about 180 degrees. They're just these awesome little tiny clouds of choux and potato. Wow, that's so light. Epic. Look at those bad boys. Whilst they're just getting that like final bit of crisp, I'm just going to add a touch of rosemary to a bowl. Just with a little bit of duck fat in the base. Just going to give it a bit of richness. This isn't in his original recipe, but I think it'll make it next level. Okay, so we're just going to take our first batch out. Awesome little golden nuggets. And then just fry the rest. Okay, so this next batch are really nice and golden. We'll take them out as well. And then what we're going to do is just take all of them and add them into this duck fat. Good amount of flaky salt. Nice amount of rosemary as well. And just toss them up. Pile them really nicely onto your serving dish. The only thing I can really compare these to is like something like a tater tot, but almost lighter. I would say the consistency seems like a potato smile. A little bit more of that rosemary. Fernand he was known as a prankster, so he would bring people into his kitchen and do elaborate shows with these. Famously, Point once painted all of his maitre d's bicycles pink in the same day. A flamboyant potato for a flamboyant man. Look at that pile of beautiful potatoes. Golden. Epic. Whoa. So light, so crispy. Banging little starter or an amazing side. Fernand Point, absolute legend. And his famous lost potato recipe. Oh, they are really good though.